Lincoln County's heart is calling you and me.
You're listening to the Lincoln County Living, a podcast for the people, by the people, where we keep it real, keep it local, and maybe even keep it a little awkward sometimes. I'm your host, Nicholas Hall, and in today's episode, I have a very special guest. She's not only my partner in life, she's also my partner in real estate, Lily. Today's episode covers the topic of what makes Lincoln County so great, what makes it so awesome, a local's perspective. So whether you're moving here, whether you already live here, or you just want to come and hang out with us, we got a lot of good information here that I think everybody will enjoy. Make sure you follow us on Facebook so you stay up to date. Make sure that you follow us on your favorite podcasting platform, and let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening to this podcast. I'm Nicholas Hall, and you're listening to the Lincoln County Living, a podcast for the people, by the people. Today I have a very special guest. I have my wife, Lily, who is also my business partner in real estate, and we're going to talk to her about what it is like being in Lincoln County and what makes Lincoln County so great. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Lily was actually born and raised in Capitan, New Mexico, and she's been a resident of Lincoln County for many, many years. And why don't you give us a little bit of a background on yourself?
Like you said, I was born and raised in Capitan, actually in Capitan, not Ruidoso. And lived here all through childhood and most of my adult life. I did move away for probably, 15 years or so. And something kept drawing me back. It's just something about this area. It's just home. I'll always end up coming back, I guess, if I ever leave again. If we go somewhere else, then sure we'll end up back here someday.
It's not in any of our plans to leave as of yet, so we're still stuck here. And graduated high school in Ruidoso, correct?
Yeah, so I actually went to school from kindergarten to 11th grade in Capitan and decided to rebel and go to school in Ruidoso my senior year, which was a weird decision since I didn't know anybody. It was, now in retrospect, it was kind of a mistake because I didn't get to graduate with the people that I knew. But I wanted that different experience, and I took it. So it was definitely different.
She took it and she got it. That's what she's saying. She took the experience and she got the experience. The whole point of this episode is to really have a local sit down and tell us about Lincoln County, how things have changed, how things are growing, because Lincoln County as a whole continues to grow every day. Can you share with us what it's like growing up in Lincoln County?
Yeah, so growing up in Lincoln County, specifically in the Capitan area, it's very farm and ranch, 4-H based. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff as a kid, raised rabbits and chickens and, dogs, just very country. I think a difference between Capitan and Ruidoso is we are a lot more country here than Ruidoso is more small town city type. So, our morals growing up here is just a lot different than being in a city. Everybody kind of watches out for each other and keeps an eye on each other. I think especially kids, because everybody knows everybody, which is good and sometimes weird, but it's a good thing, especially when kids are out there making trouble or something like that, then you're going to know. So being a parent now, as you know, it's a good thing if somebody lets us know that the kids are doing something wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But, so growing up here, it did create my personality, I guess, would be that, just to be down to earth and honest and live within my means and just try to be who I am and not try to be somebody else. And I think growing up here has made me that way because, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just want to do what's best for myself and our family and any clients or anybody that we come across. Just be the best person I can be.
Well, that's a good mindset to have. And it sounds like Lincoln County as a whole has really shaped your identity into what it is today, from what I gather anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, growing up here, running around with friends and camping and getting to go horseback riding and, riding bikes and everything through the countryside, not down city streets. It's a pretty cool experience. And, that was back in the 80s and 90s, but now it's still that way. You still see kids can do that kind of thing. And it does shape who you are. I think it builds a different person than growing up somewhere else.
Yes. And I know from experience from growing up here as well that, life's just different here. It's a great place for kids to grow up. It's a great place for kids to learn values. It's a great place for kids to get to experience the natural landscapes, the natural natures that we live in. There's a lot of cool opportunities that come along with living here, as well as like she said, you could go out hiking, you can go camping. The kids want to get into the 4-H agricultural scene, they can do that. If they want to go out and just ride their bikes in the mountains, they could do that. They could ski and snowboard. There's just like endless opportunities for kids here. So if you're thinking about moving here with your kids, I highly recommend.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, skiing and snowboarding, I grew up skiing up on the mountain here and actually didn't do it for a very long time. In the past couple of years, my dad's made us get back up there. So,
yes,
it's been really good. But also coming back to New Mexico and to Lincoln County, our kids have been able to start snowboarding and skiing and doing all of that kind of thing, where in other places you're not going to have that opportunity, or it would be a vacation type of situation where maybe you'd go once a year and do it. And it's just kind of nice to be half an hour from the mountaintop where you can just go on weekends whenever you want.
Right. It is very nice to be kind of in the location that we're at.
Yes.
So speaking of, childhood memories, what is some of your favorite childhood memories here in Lincoln County?
Well, some of them, some of my favorite ones would be outside of Fort Stanton, there's a little waterfall on the Rio Bonito River, and it was called Fort Stanton Falls when I was a kid. I don't know if there's actually a name for it, but going out there when I was a kid with my parents and their friends and all their kids, and we'd go have a picnic or, just hang out. It was one of my favorite places to go. And mostly in the summertime. Wintertime, you can't get in the water in the winter. So it was just a really cool experience. And I think about it now, even now, and it's just really cool. And as you know, we went to go see it, was it 2 years ago? And it was, it's not quite as cool when you're not a kid, but it was still really pretty. And it was neat to see it again as an adult. So that was one of my favorite things, but also Lincoln Days. Going to Lincoln during the Billy the Kid pageant and Lincoln Days, I loved that. It was so much fun. And I got to be in the Billy the Kid pageant, and I got to be a kid that they'd give us candy and stuff backstage so that we could stay quiet. It was just it was really a good time. And especially Lincoln has not really changed at all. So, kids want to do that. They can still go out there and do that if they wanted to, if their parents wanted them to. So those were some of my favorite experiences and memories of being a kid in this area that you're not really going to have that opportunity somewhere.
No, especially Lincoln Days. That one is definitely one of a kind.
Yeah, definitely.
And I actually went out to the spot that Lily was talking about. The 2 years ago, that was the first time I had ever been out to the falls by Fort Stanton. And it was definitely a hidden gem. I would say it's a hidden gem because you would never know it's back there unless somebody else does, because it's quite a ways back there. But that was a whole different trip we could talk about another time, because yeah. Anyways, how has your family and the broader community in Lincoln County influenced your life choices and your career?
Well, and my family's been here for a very long time. My parents have been here since the early 70s, I believe. And, they're hardcore Lincoln County people. They've just been here for most of their lives. They are part of the community here. Some of the life choices I've made, I didn't stay in Lincoln County after growing up and getting out of high school. I couldn't wait to get away. And I think that's normal for any small town child, is you want to grow up and find other experiences and see what else is out there and go see the big city and live in cool places where there's other things to do. But after I did that, I quickly realized that even though, yes, there's more people and there's more things to do, it wasn't the same. So you don't have that sense of community and family and everything. Maybe some neighborhoods do if you've lived in a place for a long time in a city, but it's just not the same as you can move to a small town in Lincoln County and become part of the community right away, as long as you're willing to talk to people and get along with people. That's influenced my life choices because I do always end up coming back. And as far as career goes, that's kind of a tricky one because I actually chose my career when I was living in Virginia and started selling real estate in southeastern Virginia. Then decided to come home wasn't sure if I was actually going to continue selling real estate here, and kind of debated the question for about a year and a half and went back and forth, should I just go back to school, maybe go to nursing school, work in some restaurants for a while and see how that works. And after doing that for a little while, I realized I just need to bite the bullet and get back into real estate because I'm good at it and I like it, and I might as well. This is my home, so I might as well help people that I know and love, help them find a new home to live in. So it kind of influenced my career a little bit. That's a tricky question, but yeah, it was the best choice I could have made though. And I do appreciate you because you helped support me in getting back in that career path, because I wasn't sure, and you were very positive in helping me get back into it, and I appreciate that.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm glad that I helped you make that leap, and we can also thank Jeff with Future Real Estate. We just talked to him not too long ago, because Jeff is the one that kept prying at you like Jeffrey West likes to do until you joined.
I was with Century 21 for about a year, and it's a great group of people, but it wasn't the right fit for me, and I didn't really do any business during that whole year. So Jeff had kept bugging me even before moving here to talk to him about joining Future, and kept bugging me about coming and talk to him. And I was actually at the point I was about to just give up my license. Christmas time came around, and I saw him at one of the Real Estate Association Christmas parties, and he was wearing his bright, colorful Christmas jacket, and I was like, all right, I'll go talk to you. So made a decision to go in there and talk to him about it. So it was the best decision I could have made, just talking to him and giving them, a chance to show me what Future Real Estate is all about.
Yes.
It's the best fit for me.
It's been a great fit so far. So you've been in Lincoln County for a while. We're going to keep stating that over and over again, but there's been various changes in Lincoln County even since my family has lived here, but I'm sure there's been several more than what I've witnessed since you have been here. So over the years, which transformation do you think was the most significant for the community?
Well, Ruidoso and Capitan, all of Lincoln County hasn't really changed that much. So that's been pretty significant to me in a good way. Of course, there's more people here now than there used to be, but not significantly. It has grown some, of course, but it's not a big town still. We're still a small town. There's not a lot of change. Of course, Walmart's moved. It used to be Highway 70 back in the day, and, now it's bigger. And Albertsons has changed names about 4 or 5 times, but it's still a grocery store. And, one of the good things actually is Midtown, Ruidoso, they are trying to improve the buildings and beautify it and get it to be a little more modern. So even though I know a lot of people, they see the new pictures of Midtown and it's like, oh, it's not the one I knew back in the day. It's good, because if it was exactly the same, we would stop getting tourism. People get bored with it. And these buildings would become dilapidated without being renovated and fixed up and maintained over the years. They would become dilapidated. So I do feel, that's very important to keep that going, the transformation going. Grindstone Lake is still beautiful. And one thing, Bonita Lake, after Little Bear Fire, it was closed for 10 years, I think. And now it's finally open again. And that's a huge impact on the community.
Huge.
I feel like having that open is so important. And I know it actually technically belongs to Alamogordo, but it's still in Lincoln County. It's our lake.
Yeah.
That's been a nice thing to see in the past few years.
There's been some good changes. And, I agree with you on the Midtown type of thing that people tend to think, well, it's not the same Midtown it used to be. Yes and no. I see Midtown starting to evolve to a modern standpoint with the same rustic charm.
Yes.
They're trying to keep the same rustic charm, but we do have to keep up with the times in a way to where, like you said, it's important to have new things. Because yes, the generations that have been here are going to start getting the same things. They're going to get bored, but the new generations are going to get bored as well eventually over time. And you got to think about it in a snowball effect that if we don't make these proper changes, then the generations ahead won't even get the chance to come up here because the parents are bored with it. They don't want to come. So
yeah,
it's important to have that modern change, but also keeping the same rustic charm that we have going on here in Lincoln County.
Definitely. One way I like to tell people, to think about it is if you've ever seen the movie Hot Tub Time Machine, where they go back, they go back to the town that they all loved and it's all dilapidated and just falling apart. We don't want that to happen here. So, we have to keep people coming in and keep things fixed up and keeping it modernized, keep it exciting. We don't want just this boring same old stuff. So, of course, as different generations change what they like too, we have to appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
So that's really important. The Inn of the Mountain Gods has grown so much. Back in the day, it was just a small little place. And now, they bring big people in sometimes, and that's so cool. We never got anything like that when I was a kid. So having something like that, even, these big performers and Spencer Theater too. Spencer Theater brings in some really cool stuff. So it's just really important to have that constant way so that we're constantly appealing to different people.
Yes.
And yeah,
yes.
I think it's great.
And other notable events that are kind of bringing in that modern charm is like the Renaissance Fair.
Yes.
And the Tattoo Expo.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Just different ideas that are outside of the regular scope of things is always good. We've seen businesses grow. We've seen individuals grow. We've seen several things get better over time. That's for sure.
Yes.
And speaking of places and things to do, this one's kind of off topic here, but what are some of your favorite things to do here in Lincoln County?
Well, one thing that we've been doing is, we've been going up to the mountain again and getting back into skiing. I'm actually really enjoying that. And I was so hesitant to go back up there because the last time I did when I was a kid, I actually hurt my leg pretty bad. So, and it was a real dry year and it just went on a lift I shouldn't have gone on. And it was just, it happens. But I've really been enjoying that. So that's been a great opportunity to do that. And then last year, like you said, the Renaissance Fair, that was so cool. We've never had anything like that here, and it ended up being so much bigger than anything anyone could have thought of. So that was a very exciting thing to have happen. I mean, it appeals to all different types of people and different generations, and it's not just your stereotypical, craft fair. It is a craft fair, but it's different. It brings different stuff. Yeah,
we do like Texas stars every once in a while, and cowboys and Indians, but we also like
we just want a different. It's just the change of pace sometimes. And cowboys and Indians, all of that stuff. We love the native culture and all of that. The sculptures and the artwork and everything. It's beautiful. And the Texas culture too. We wouldn't be here. Ruidoso wouldn't be here without Texas. I know people are not going to want to hear that, but it's very true. So, if Texans didn't decide that they wanted to escape the Great Depression, they wouldn't have built Ruidoso. So it's just kind of weird history that we have here.
Ruidoso was born a tourist town.
It was, it wouldn't have been here for any other reason. So it wasn't here for any other reason. So it's kind of interesting. But we love it, and it's not tourist town to us. It's home. Yeah. All of the county is.
It's a great place to call home.
It is. Another transformation I forgot that I was going to talk about was Ruidoso. Back in the day, they used to have a rec center there when I was a kid. It wasn't the greatest, but it was kind of cool, something for kids to do. And that's kind of gone. But they still have the pool, and that's really nice in the summertime. But a lot of the old buildings that have sat empty for a long time are turning into art galleries. And it's bringing in whole different atmosphere. And driving through there is so cool. You can see, different art galleries. And it's just kind of interesting. You walk through the little old town area and look through the windows of these places. And it's quirky and just different. And I love the fact that people are trying really hard to bring it up and do something different with Ruidoso so it doesn't just turn into a ghost town. And, if the courthouse wasn't there, I think it would have already.
Yes.
So it's good that they left that there for now. But I also think it's good that these people are coming in, buying these buildings and turning them into art galleries too.
It's I think it's about a half a mile stretch, wouldn't you say?
Probably, yeah.
Of historic kind of buildings that are filled with different types of arts and arts galleries. Mm-hmm. And I know they're trying to open up different kind of restaurants and stuff in Ruidoso, and there are quite a few people that live in Carrizozo, and they're trying to basically bring it back to life to where I think they have an event called the Borough Days or something like that.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it would be something interesting to find out a little bit more about. But yeah, they do have the little donkeys all over Carrizozo. They're painted differently.
Fun to hunt them.
It's
really fun to hunt
cool.
them. We spent the whole afternoon just going out to Carrizozo, and I just took pictures of all the burrows I could find, and they're everywhere. Yeah. And they're really cool. That was a cool project that somebody had put together down there.
Definitely. And they're all different, so, it is like a treasure hunt.
So another event that's coming up here in Lincoln County is a pretty important one that most people don't know about, and that is Smokey Bear Days. So for those that don't know, Smokey Bear was actually found here, if I'm not mistaken. Lily was born and raised here. She'll actually be able to tell you the whole story. But from my knowledge, Smokey Bear was found here, and he was taken care of. So the origination of Smokey Bear actually came from Capitan, New Mexico, and there's a whole museum here that talks about the history behind that. And they actually do a whole event here in Capitan called the Smokey Bear Days, celebrating Smokey Bear's birthday. And Smokey Bear is actually going to be turning 81 this year, which is a pretty big deal. And that is on May, what do we say, May?
It's May 2nd and 3rd.
May 2nd and 3rd.
In Capitan.
In Capitan. And that's a big deal. I mean, 81 is a long time that Smokey's been around.
Definitely. Yeah, Smokey Bear actually, the Forest Service had started creating Smokey Bear as a mascot for, fire prevention before they found the little bear in the Capitan Mountains. So they had started that, and then it was pretty recent after they started, they found this little bear scorched in a tree, and his mom was gone, and so they brought him down and nursed him back to health and made him into the Smokey Bear mascot. And I don't remember where they took him, but they did bring him back here to be buried in the Smokey Bear Park after he passed away, which was, I think, in the 80s.
Yeah,
so
he went to a rehabilitation center and did a whole thing. And what's interesting, speaking of kids growing up in Lincoln County, is they actually teach you the history of Smokey Bear here.
And the song.
Yes. And I've been corrected several times since I've lived here that it's not Smokey the Bear, it's Smokey Bear.
Bear, yeah.
You guys keep that in mind.
And some hardcore Forest Service people definitely remind you, or hardcore Capitan people definitely remind you of the actual names. Yeah. But it's a pretty cool piece of Capitan history, and, growing up here, learning about all of that. And I remember one time when I was a kid, I was watching Jeopardy with my parents, and they had a category that was about Smokey Bear. And I answered all of them right. Nobody else on the show got all of them right, but I was like, I know, I was so excited. It was kind of neat to be able to know all of it, as a little kid, especially on Jeopardy. I'm like, oh yeah, I know all of that. It's awesome.
Yes, that is awesome. And I know there's a lot of history here in this county. There's a lot of history that's happened here, from Smokey Bear to when Billy the Kid was roaming around, when they had the war out at Fort Stanton, and when the Texans came up here to escape the heat and founded Ruidoso. And there's just a lot of history here that kind of goes unnoticed in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think some of it, like Billy the Kid, definitely isn't unnoticed. If you've been through Lincoln, that's all it's about. But I think a lot of people come up here and just to, for one, get out of the heat, or just get out into nature, and they just don't think about what's the history of this area. I'm sure we all do that going on vacation. We're not always going to think about the history of it, but we do have a very rich culture here and history, more than some places may. So it's kind of neat to hear about.
True. So in Lincoln County, there's a lot of things you could do. There's hiking, there's fishing, there's hunting, there's golf, there's disc golf, there's casinos, there's a racetrack, there's plenty of restaurants, shopping centers, museums. I mean, you name it. There's a lot to do here in Lincoln County. So I would say what makes Lincoln County great is the modern and rustic charm that we talked about, as well as the Lincoln County mindset that we kind of spoke about, where we're here to help each other. We're here to take care of each other. We're here to look out for each other. Even if some of us are a little more quiet than others. We still try to take care of each other. And I personally think it's a great place for children to grow up. It's a great place for you to keep your kids safe. It's a wonderful, wonderful county with vast landscapes. You could go to the mountains and the tall pines, go down the road and end up in the kind of the foothills, and you could go down into the desert and look at some lava rocks over there in Valley of Fire. You could go out to Lincoln and see some historical buildings, and they have some caves and some other stuff out there as well. And there's just so much here that a lot of us take for granted.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, us included, there's a lot of times where there's places we haven't been. Like when we went out to the Valley Fires walkway a couple of years ago, you hadn't been there. I think I had been there once as a little kid, but I don't really remember it too much. So it was very interesting to go experience that. And it's free, or almost free. I think we had to park or something.
It was $5 to park.
Yeah, it was not an expensive day, and it was a whole afternoon, so it was really neat to experience that even as a local. But if you're not a local and you're coming in, there's a lot of things to do other than, just the regular stuff like the casino and restaurants and, eating, hiking. There's a lot more to do.
There's a lot. I mean, I could give you a to-do list that would be like 30 pages long if you really want me to go there, but we could definitely talk about that another time. But I know that it's okay to be a tourist in your own area. And we've really learned to try to be a tourist in our own area, because how can we talk about our own area so highly if we don't even know about it?
Definitely. We try to walk through Midtown every now and then and, go through the stores and experience that, because that is one of the main things that people do when they come into this area. Sometimes I'll be talking to the store owners and tell them, well, I haven't been out here in a while. They're like, oh, you need to. You're local. You need to come support us. I'm like, I'm sorry. I will do that more often.
So looking into the future for Lincoln County, do you think it'll continue to improve?
I think so. We're going to, we have a lot of strong people in this county, and as long as we all work together and stay as a tight community, it's going to continue to be a good community. Anything can happen, but as of right now, everything, I think the future looks great. And, as far as business goes, us being in real estate, the business has been crazy the past few years. So it's created kind of this weird real estate spike, and now it's kind of normalizing. But in a way, that's a very good thing, and that's what we need to see. But no, I do feel like we have a good community here and good people that live here and want to keep this a great place to live and to visit. And as long as that keeps going, we're going to be all right.
And, even through tragic events like some of the ones we have last year, the mindset again of Lincoln County is to just, not to quote Joe Dirt or anything, but to keep on keeping on.
Yes.
And just to keep making it work no matter what.
Yes.
Just to stick around.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting to see how the community came together after the tragic events of last year. Because even though we all know it's a strong community, we're pretty tight-knit, it was really cool to actually see it in action. Even, it was a horrible thing to happen, but to see everybody trying to help each other out and overcome.
It was incredible.
It
was absolutely incredible, the amount of people that came together, even not in Lincoln County.
Yes. Some of the homeowners that own second homes up here were helping by renting those out to people that lost their homes, or just letting them stay there or donating. And it was really impressive. Lincoln
County actually had too much water in terms of to drink. People donated so much water that they were just trying to get rid of it at a certain point, because they donated so much water, so many clothes, so many blankets. So they donated so much, and to the people that, they fundraised for money for the people that lost their homes. That was absolutely incredible as well. I know a notable one would be James and Logan with Scorpion Tattoos. They raised an amazing amount of money. And they really pushed to help the community the best that they could.
Yeah. And I know Keenan Brophy with Honey Hole Hair Company, she was doing a drive for sanitary products, the soaps and shampoos and all that. And she got quite a bit with that. So, we all did our part to try to help out as much as possible.
Yes.
It was really neat to see. It was
And there's a lot of
impressive.
people that help too that I didn't mention, and you're not going unnoticed. That's for sure.
Right.
So what's one of your personal favorite places to eat in Lincoln County?
I really like Chez Palais in Capitan. They try to get a lot of their ingredients from local resources as much as they can. And he makes his pizza dough fresh from scratch, and he does a gluten-free option on that too. So that's really cool. I don't think we've ever had a bad experience at Chez Palais
Never.
that I think of.
Never. I mean, I've always been impressed with mixed food. It's amazing. And like she said, she has a gluten-free pizza, or he has a gluten-free pizza, I'm sorry, which is amazing. And he also has some other great food. I mean, he makes some delicious stuff. And Renee makes awesome cookies. She makes amazing baked goods. I can't have them anymore, but when I could have them, they were
They're
outstanding.
very good.
Yeah.
They have a big ol' salad. It's called a big ol' salad.
Yeah, it's a
And-
literal big ol' salad.
And the lettuce is sourced from right here in Lincoln County as much as they can. And it's always so good.
Yeah.
I'm not a go out to eat and get a salad all the time type of person, but that's almost always what I get there. It's so good. It's very
Yes.
impressive.
Shout out to Chez Palais and Capitan. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And are there any favorite places that you'd like to relax?
I mean, it's always good to, go out. We enjoy going out to Fort Stanton sometimes and walking around. And I know one time they had, it's an old army hospital and it's got a lot of history. So I remember one time they had this mannequin in the window and I was already kind of, thinking about ghost stories and a little bit on edge, and looked up and it scared me so bad.
I have video of it. It was pretty hilarious. It was pretty hilarious. I mean, that's a place that is infamous for the possibility of being haunted. I mean, I'll just be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Ghost hunters and everyone. They've been documented quite a few times. So,
And it's one of those places that it's a little creepy whenever you get there already. You could feel it in the air. And then whoever works at Fort Stanton decided to put this mannequin head in the window. You're a genius. Because it didn't startle me as much, but it caught Lily way off guard. You definitely got Lily. That's for sure.
It was ridiculous. I felt really silly afterwards, but then it made me kind of on edge more for the rest of the time we were there. But I mean, it's such a cool place to be because it's so quiet and it has a beautiful view, and it's more history, but
It's crazy
It's
quiet out there.
really neat to see. It's so pretty out there,
Yeah.
and just anywhere up in the mountains, going anywhere and just enjoying the outside as much as possible. It's just always a good option unless it's too windy.
Right. Right. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on today about what makes Lincoln County great. I think there's a lot of things, and people have gotten a real good insight, especially from a true 100% local like yourself, born and raised here and everything like that. I know that we could go on and on and on, but we need to come to a conclusion for this episode, at least at some point. What are some final thoughts or messages you'd like to leave with the listeners in regards to Lincoln County?
Well, if you're thinking about coming up for a trip or moving up here, be very serious about it. I mean, for a trip, that's an easy yes, let's do that, answer. But if you're thinking about possibly moving up here, it's a different kind of community, and we'd love to have you. And if you have kids or not, it doesn't matter. It's a good place to live, and it's my favorite place to live, and I've lived all over the United States. So if you're thinking about it, definitely do. And if you're thinking about buying a house, give me a call.
Yes, that's a good segue into the next part, because Lily is with Future Real Estate in Ruidoso, as well as I am. But Lily's with Future Real Estate in Ruidoso over there with Jeffrey West. If you guys haven't seen that episode, please go back and listen to it. It was a great episode. But you could reach her. We'll go ahead and let her give her information out to you guys right now.
Yeah, if you are thinking about selling a house or buying a house and moving up here, I'd be happy to help you out. My phone number is 575-213-5353. You can call me or text me. I'm happy to chat with you about the market or show you some houses. Or if you are thinking about selling, we can go over some numbers of value. I've been top producer in our office for the past few years, and also within the top 5% of the realtors in Lincoln County for the past few years. I work very hard for my clients and to help you find the house that you want or sell your house. So I'm very happy to help.
Lily's a superstar. Just look her up. Look her up on Google, look her up on Zillow, read some of those reviews. She is a superstar. So definitely work with her. She did not pay me to say that. Just because she's my wife, I didn't say that. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you on. You're the easiest person for me to get on the podcast because I could just say please, and then you're going to say yes. So, but again, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. That's going to be this week. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And remember to keep exploring, keep engaging, and keep enjoying Lincoln County. You've been listening to the Lincoln County Living. I'm Nicholas Hall, and I want to give a huge thanks to Lily to coming on today. Again, it didn't take much. I just had to smile and say please, and she said okay. But other than that, make sure you listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, and you follow us on Facebook to stay up to date and keep living it, Lincoln County.
Lincoln County, living, we're roaming free. Every town a treasure, every moment a spree. From the valleys to the mountains where the wild things be.